Hello everyone, welcome to M Electrical YouTube channel. I hope you all are good and safe. Today in this video we will discuss about the ideal transformer, EMF equation and at last we will analyze every point regarding this topic. Every concept on this topic will be cleared, so try to concentrate on the words whatever I am going to tell you now. Here I want to ensure you that if you watch this video till end, then definitely you will get a crystal clear concept on this topic. In the previous video, we have discussed about the working principle of transformer. If you have not seen this video, you can watch it by clicking the link showing in I button above. In this video, we will discuss about the points like the properties of an ideal transformer. Secondly, why it is called imaginary transformer. Then the EMF equation of transformer, and at last we will establish some important formulas and the phasor and timing diagram of transformer. Ideal transformer is nothing but the loss-free transformer. If there is loss in a transformer, then it will be practical or commercial transformer. So, ideal transformer plus losses in transformer equal to practical transformer or commercial transformer. If we add losses with ideal transformer, then we will get practical transformer. There must be a question in your mind that when in reality we use practical transformer, then why to discuss about this ideal one? The simple answer is a transformer is assumed to be an ideal one just for obtaining an easier explanation of what happens in a transformer and for detailed analysis. Firstly, if we assume all losses in transformer analysis, then it will be much more complex to drive any type of equation. So just for simplification purpose, we assume this ideal transformer. Now we will discuss about the properties of transformer. Actually, these are the assumptions for a transformer to be an ideal one. Number 1. Core should possess infinite permeability. That means all the flux set up by the primary links the secondary winding. That is, all the flux is confined to the magnetic core. The second point is core losses should be zero. There are two types of core losses in a transformer. They are hysteresis and eddy current loss. That means there will be no losses like hysteresis and eddy current loss. And third point is magnetic path should possess linearity property. That is, magnetization curve for the core is linear. But in general, the magnetization curve is not linear, it is non-linear. But for ideal case, it should be linear. And the fourth one is winding resistance, that is the primary and the secondary winding resistances should be zero. Then what will happen? I squared R loss will be zero. Now, if the core loss is zero, which is mentioned in the second point, and the fourth point tells that the copper losses will also be equal to zero, then what will happen? If the core loss and copper loss both are zero, then the efficiency of the transformer will be equal to 100% as there are no loss. So, ideal transformer has efficiency of 100%. Although in practical transformer it is not possible. It's remain around 95% to 98%, 99% sometime. Okay. Practical transformer has none of these properties, but operation is close to ideal transformer. You have to remember this. It is to be noted that the term primary and secondary in case of two windings of a transformer we should not use, but in case of doing analysis we can use sometimes. It is preferable to use subscript 1 and 2 instead of primary and secondary, these words. Like primary side EMF as E1, current as I1, and for number of winding it should be N1. Similarly, in the secondary side also EMF as E2 and current as I2 and winding as N2. This way. Now we will discuss about the EMF equation of a transformer. In the previous video, the transformer working, we have already discussed about Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Here, the formula E varies as d phi dt. This is very important. Here also, this formula will help us to establish the EMF equation of a transformer. Now we will see that the flux is sinusoidal in nature. As the supply voltage is alternating or sinusoidal in nature, then the primary winding current I1 will also be sinusoidal in nature. As a result, the flux will also be the same, that is the sinusoidal in nature. And we all know that any type of sinusoidal signal, if we represent that sinusoidal signal, if we write down the equation, then it will be like this: phi equal to phi m sin omega t. Here x-axis is omega t and in y-axis we will measure the magnitude of phi, and the phi m is the peak value or the maximum value of phi, which is phi m here. So phi equal to phi m sin omega t. If it would be voltage, then it will be like V equal to Vm sin omega t. If it would be current, then the representative will be like this: I equal to Im sin omega t. In the same way, the phi is phi equal to phi m sin omega t. This is the representation of any type of sinusoidal signal. Now phi equal to phi m sin omega t, if we put this value in equation 1, which is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, that is E equal to minus n d phi dt. Here, if we put the phi value, then it will be like E equal to minus n multiply d dt of, instead of phi, we will write phi m sin omega t, equal to minus n multiplied by phi, as phi m is constant, which is maximum value. So phi m will be out from the derivative, phi m multiplied by omega, because here the derivative is with respect to t only, time dt. So omega will be out and sin omega t derivative will be cos omega t, equal to n multiply phi m multiply omega multiply by sin omega t minus pi by 2 minus cos omega t. In the previous line you can see minus cos omega t, it will be sin omega t minus pi by 2. I hope you all know this, it is the part of mathematics. So it will be n phi m and omega equal to 2 pi f in electrical system, and for mechanical system it will be 2 pi n by 60. We all know this omega value. So as it is electrical system, omega will be 2 pi f. multiply by sine omega t minus pi by 2 equal to Em sine omega t minus pi by 2. See here, we represented the phi as phi equal to phi m sine omega t, as it was sinusoidal signal. Again, if we represent the E as sinusoidal signal, then E will be Em sine omega t, like this. Now E equal to, we have got that n phi m into 2 phi f multiplied by sine omega t minus pi by 2. Now if we assume this E equal to, it is Em sine omega t minus pi by 2, then here this part will be the Em. So Em will be n phi m multiplied by 2 pi f. This part will be equal to Em. Okay, it is clear here. Now if we represent it as RMS value, it will be E RMS equal to E maximum divided by root 2. So E RMS equal to E maximum divided by root 2, and if we put E maximum value, then we will get like this: n multiplied by phi m multiplied by 2 phi f divided by root 2. And the value of 2 pi divided by root 2, pi value as 3.14. Then we will get 2 pi by root 2 equal to 4.44, something like this. Then it will be 4.44 f phi m n. So E RMS equal to 4.44 f phi m multiplied by n. This is the EMF equation of transformer. This is the common formula. Now if we want to check the value of primary side induced EMF, what will be that? The primary winding induced EMF E1 will be 4.44 f phi m multiplied by n1. See here, it is very important. E value and n value is only changing, and the middle part, that is 4.44 f phi m, is constant. Again, if we want to see the secondary winding induced EMF E2, this value will also be equal to 4.44 f phi m multiplied by n2. E value, n value is only changing, the middle part is not changing, because 4.44 it is constant value, it will never change. And the f frequency, which is fixed in India, it is 50 Hz. Mutual flux phi m, the resultant flux, is constant throughout the magnetic core, it is not changing. The same mutual flux phi m is inducing the E1 EMF in the primary winding, and when this phi m is linking the secondary winding, then it's inducing the secondary side EMF E2. The same phi m is inducing E1 and E2, so it is also not changing. The number of winding is changing, and the induced EMF E1 and E2 is changing. Changing means the subscript. Sometimes we use T1 as number of winding instead of N1 also, and for the secondary winding you can use it at T2. Now we will see some important formulas which is very important in numerical type problem of transformer. We all know, we have recently seen that E1 equal to 4.44 f phi m n1 and E2 equal to 4.44 f phi m n2. We have marked this one as 2 and this lower one as equation 3. If we divide this second equation with the third equation, then we will get E1 by E2 equal to N1 by N2. This is also called potential variables or effort variables of two ports, that means the primary and the secondary port of transformer. So E1 by N1 equal to E2 by N2, that is EMF per turn in primary side will be equal to EMF per turn in the secondary side. So N1 by N2 equal to E1 by E2. Look at the equation 4. Same thing we are telling. N1 by N2 equal to E1 by E2 equal to V1 by V2. As E1 equal to V1 and E2 equal to V2, we have told in case of ideal transformer, they are equal. Equal to I2 by I1, which is equal to A equal to 1 by K. What is A and what is K? They are called turns ratio or transformation ratio. This formula is very, very important for any type of problem of transformer. Some books refer this A value which is given, and some books refer the K value. That's why we have used the both here. This N1 by N2 is called the turn ratio, and E1 by E2 is called induced voltage ratio. The turn ratio or the induced voltage ratio is called transformation ratio. So E1 equal to will be N1 divided by N2 multiplied by E2. It is clear? This is equation number 5. Again, as power is constant in a transformer, we have already discussed this point in the basic details of transformer video, the first video of this series. So, as the power is constant in a transformer, that is E1 I1 will be equal to E2 I2. This is also important formula, mentioned here 6. This sixth equation says that the volt ampere, that is apparent power, that is E1 I1 is called apparent power. You must know about the kilowatt, kVAr, kVA, the power triangle. Then you will understand that voltage multiplied by current, it is called apparent power, whose unit is in kVA. That is, volt amperes drawn from the supply will be equal to volt ampere transferred to the secondary side. That is, input kVA will be equal to the output kVA. Again, putting the equation 5th into 6, we will get I1 multiplied by N1 will be equal to I2 multiplied by N2. You can check it. You can put this E1 value from 5th equation and put the value in the 6th equation. Then it will be clear that I1 N1 will be equal to I2 N2. This equation is called kinetic variables or flow variables of two ports. Previously, in the fourth equation was port variables or effort variables of two ports. Now, this seventh equation is called kinetic variables or flow variables of two ports. This seventh equation states that the demagnetizing ampere turns of the secondary are equal and opposite to the magnetizing ampere turn of the primary of an ideal transformer. Since the ideal transformer has zero primary and secondary impedance, so E1 equal to Vs, that means supply voltage, or V1, whatever you tell, Vs or V1, anyone. Similarly, E2, that is secondary induced EMF, will be equal to VL or V2, that is load voltage. The current I1 drawn from the supply is sufficient to produce mutual flux phi m. We have drawn the phasor diagram here by making the phi m as a reference. By Lenz's law, induced EMF is always in opposite direction of supply voltage. If you don't know about this law, then watch the previous video, Working Principle of Transformer. In the video description also you will get that link. There we have discussed all the total 4 laws participating in the whole working process of transformer. Again coming to point, so here the E1 is equal and opposite to V1, and as E1 and E2 both are induced by the same phi m, so they are in same direction. Here the load is not connected, but the no load current will be present in the primary side. The no load current has two components. We know one component is core loss component, that is IC or IW, and the other is magnetizing component of current, which is IM or I mu. As the core loss is 0 in case of ideal transformer, so IC will be equal to 0. That's why only IM will be the only remaining current at no load, ideal transformer case. This is the reason that I1 equal to IM only. As magnetizing part is fully inductive in nature, so IM will lag the supply voltage V1 by 90 degree. You can see here. This IM is only responsible for producing the mutual flux Φm. Thus, IM is in same phase with Φm. And V2 equal to E2, same in magnitude as well as in phase also. Now match the phasor diagram with the timing diagram. Then everything will be very clear to you. As the supply voltage is sinusoidal, then current I1 and flux Φm is also sinusoidal. This I1, which is equal to Im, is producing the flux. So they are in phase. From here also, you can see the same thing like phasor diagram. Both the diagram has the same idea, only way of drawing or representation is different. And the E1, E2, look here, the E1, E2 is lagging the Φm by 90 degree or pi by 2. Here also you can see the same thing. I hope you have understood every point from first to last, whatever I have told now. This is up to today's video. Watch the full lecture series one by one. You need not to go anywhere. Here only you will get a full subject knowledge. I hope your concept is clear now. Please inform us by doing a comment whether your doubt is clear or not. You can rewatch this video for more clarity. Till if you have any doubt regarding this topic or any other topic related to electrical engineering, then drop your doubt in the comment section below. Remember, one like, one inspiration. If you have learned something new in this video, then hit the like button and subscribe the channel. You can contact with us. Every detail is given in the description section. Thank you for listening me today. We will meet soon with a new interesting topic. Till then, take care, be safe, be protected from coronavirus. Goodbye.